I mean, but like you said, I think a lot of Black Americans, they've been taught to have a negative perception of Africa and African people. So, like Malcolm was saying, you can't hate the roots and not hate the tree. You
Come
know what I'm
on.
saying? I'm in Africa right now for the viewers who may not know. So I've been to about 15 African countries. It's very beautiful. It's the most diverse continent in terms of language, genetics, animals, mineral resources. Very beautiful people, friendly people, welcoming people. You know, so a lot of times I think that has a major effect on us at a young age because we used to seeing these negative images. Images I seen from in the early 90s, you know, the African starving and the
Oh my
flies
God.
on them. You could
Uh,
feed an African child for 20 cents a day.
for
And it gets to
20
the point
cents
where,
a day.
right, right. And it gets to the point where some Black Americans even just like, I'm not even African. You know, they just deny the whole slave trade almost. You know, like we don't even come from there, you know. And like you say, they want to grab towards other groups of people, culture and different things like that. So it's kind of sad, you know.
It is sad, and I feel like it's ridiculous, but that's the images that's the narrative we've been told. That's the story that we've learned. You know, every movie, every television show, every commercial, you know, everything that depicted Africa as this barren land, this poor third world place, when in reality it is one of the richest places you could ever imagine, which is why everybody stole from it. Like, make it make sense. Who steals from something that doesn't have value? People don't go rob the trap house that's like dilapidated and falling apart and you know you know is abandoned, which is why it's the trap. People not gonna go rob an abandoned house. They're going to go somewhere that looks well taken care of because that's where they can take from. And that is the reality. And people don't realize. I mean, they argue it, but you can't deny it. Go through all of the DNA research, look through everything in history, look through everything in science, and it will come back to the fact that Africa is the motherland, period, point blank. So you can argue, but go argue with the facts. And when you go to the facts, there's nothing that will corroborate any other story. So everybody is of African descent, first and foremost. Even the white people who are white European or who find their roots elsewhere, everybody is of African descent. Now, everybody is not going to identify that way. And it's about really tuning into your roots. And when you understand, like you said, your roots, then you can identify differently. And you may not identify with aspects of culture that you haven't experienced, but you can at least identify with the history of your people. And then you can have an understanding that, you know, we all have a responsibility socially to one another in this world.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. You had mentioned something earlier about post-traumatic slave, I think it's disorder, and you know, just having genetic memory. So, like, as a black man in America, I think I still feel the same way when I get pulled over by the police that my father felt, and his father and his grandfather felt, or like you say, trying to make people feel comfortable to the
Yes.
point where it's like internalized. I might go into a store and I'll be like, maybe they might think I'm stealing, so let me get their attention and ask them for help. You know what I'm saying? And that person may not even be paying me no attention, but I'm just
Mhm.
programmed to where I
Mhm.
gotta be like, no, you know, bump them.
Yeah.
You know, they better ask me for help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's embedded.
yeah, I'm guilty of that as well. But let me see. Okay, I wanted to ask you about this something else I found that was amazing. Now you got a Taylor Curtis Day in Dayton. Is that true?
Yes, I do. I you know, it's an interesting story. So I was at a college, a local college, as a professor there. And while I was there, a student was interviewing me for their paper. And it was like a faculty spotlight. And he basically said, you know, oh, you're applying for tenure. Because I told him, like, you know, I just finished this huge process. We write like a 10-page paper about why we've been working hard in the college, and then someone's going to decide whether or not I get a permanent spot. And when I told him about this, he was like, "Wouldn't you be like the youngest professor ever to be tenured?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was 25 at the time, and so he did all of the research. And his name is Justin Baker. He's a journalist, and he's doing wonderful, wonderful things, studying journalism, and he's been in school, and I think he is currently working on his master's. And so shout out to Justin Baker. He did all of the research. He did all of the things to discover what was happening and if I was making history. And he found that I was not the youngest person ever, but the youngest Black woman ever to get tenured in the history of the country. And so as soon as I became tenured, he took his story to a couple people in community, and it made it to the mayor's office, and she decided that she was going to proclaim that December 1st is Taylor Curtis Day.
Wow, congratulations. That's truly, truly amazing. You know, did a
Thank
lot of
you.
great stuff at a very, very young age. That's definitely inspiring. Let me see. I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned something earlier. You are the director of racial justice. What is that exactly? If you could talk
So
about that a little bit.
this is actually a brand new position. It is a brand new position, and I am a brand new position owner. Like, I just got the job. I actually was in advocacy doing this similar type of work, but more around racial justice and gender justice, heavily doing trainings and facilitating consultation for organizations and businesses to do workshops and training around diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, anti-racism, implicit bias, cultural responsibility, social responsibility, and all the things in between. And we are a organization that is designed to eliminate racism and empower women and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And so in doing that, that includes educating the community, educating others. It also includes having some of these serious conversations, some serious dialogues, and to talk about the issues that are happening in community, and talking about how do we solve those issues, what does that look like, and how do we do that collectively, and what can I do individually. So are there petitions I can sign? Am I engaged as a voter? Do I know who I'm voting for and what bills they've sponsored and how those bills impact my life and my community? Do I know who I'm voting for in the local elections to make sure that the right people are being put into position as, oh, I don't know, sheriff or city commissioner? Making sure that we are doing those things along with educating us about the things that we've missed throughout our education, about the things that we haven't put together, about the impact that those things had. Like right now in Dayton, Ohio, there's been a large conversation about redlining and how the government allowed different laws to be in place and different practices to be in place for us to say that these communities of color are grade F areas or grade D areas, but these white neighborhoods, suburban neighborhoods, are grade A communities, and we are going to prevent people from selling property to people of color, and we're going to prevent the same type of resources or the same caliber or quality of resources from being in those locations. So now we're going to see small pockets of people of color who are stacked upon each other, who are living in poverty, or individuals in poverty living in these spaces as well, even if they're not persons of color. And then we're going to see, lack of grocery stores, but an influx of liquor, a lack of markets with food available, but we're going to see fast food available. We're going to see, check cash advance places that perpetuate debt, as opposed to high quality schools that have career tech programs and other things. So looking at, those types of things in community, having dialogues about them, having opportunities for people to accept a call to action and get engaged in their community, to volunteer somewhere, to donate somewhere, to share their resources or share their knowledge. And so I get to be a part of creating those opportunities. I get to be a part of teaching and facilitating and having some of these dialogues, and I get to be a part of making that impact both within our organization and externally.